Sorry, guys, just checking. Do we have anything for Coach? They are all in. Pete Bot, you can go. You can just ask questions. You just take the line off.
Robert, what are you thinking heading into this week of practice against the Packers? How much can your team get out of this?
I think we can get a lot out of it. We're it's an opportunity to go compete against a championship roster, and obviously a new set of plays, scheme, both offensively, defensively, and even special teams. You get to lean on a different body for a couple of days, and I value these things greatly, just because of if you go in there with the right intent to compete and not look at it like it's a free-for-all where you're trying to do extra, but I think they're just valuable.
Do you talk to your team about that, or do they know, the last part that what you're talking about, not making it a free-for-all?
No, they know, but it's also something we talk about. I mean, it's we're going out there. This is not this isn't street ball. We're going out there. We're going to compete. We're going to work our techniques, our fundamentals, just like we do against each other. We're going to respect our opponent. We're going to respect what they're trying to get done also, and we're going to do everything we can to get better. But so we're anticipating a good, clean week of competition.
Robert, are there any players that aren't making the trip, for injury reasons or otherwise?
I've got to get that report here in a little bit. Rich, I can obviously answer that better for you later.
I just wanted to ask you about Zach, following up on what you just said, like specifically, what can he get out of facing a different team for so many reps over the course of 2 days?
It's like we talked about, like part of the process of getting better is getting reps against as many different looks as possible. And so he's been seeing our defense, he's been seeing our system, and it gets to a point where he needs to see something else so he can take another step in his process. And so their system is different than ours. They've got different fronts, they've got different coverages, they've got different people and how players and how they react. They've got a different play caller. So he'll be able to go through all that, and just his eyes and visually how route concepts play out to a new set of coverages is incredibly beneficial for him to be able to see it live and then go back and watch the tape to have that recall. Like I said, I think these practices are priceless.
How much does your relationship with Matt help you as you guys go about these joint practices?
I think it helps. We've had a lot of discussion to make sure that we're both getting the work that we need. There's been a lot of collaboration to make sure that not only are we getting looks offensively, but they're getting looks offensively that they need, and vice versa. So, there's not as much guard up with regards to communication and protecting, if you will, but just a good collaboration to make sure that we're both getting the work in that we need to get the most out of this practice.
Robert, what's the progress you've seen from Zach from last week to this through the preseason game and these two practices? What have you seen?
The process, obviously the results have changed for him, but the process has been the same. He's going through it. He asked, sitting in the quarterback meeting yesterday, I mean, he's asking this, not the same questions, but he is just curious about everything. And so he's got all these questions about what he sees on tape and what if this happens, what if, so he's, to me, he's so far ahead with regards to how he sees the game. It's not just, all right, what's the formation? What's my play call? He's looking at the other side of the ball, and he's doing a really nice job. Now, like I said, the results are changing, but it can flip another time. But his process has been consistent. It's been consistently good, and hopefully we can continue to build on it.
How long do you think he'll play on Saturday?
Right now, obviously we got to talk. He's hoping to get him a couple of series, just like we did against the Giants, maybe a couple more, maybe one or two more, but we'll see. We got to talk towards the end of the week, see how these practices go, Rich.
Robert, would Zach play in the third game? Is that something that you would consider having, like some of these starters playing in the last game against Philly?
Yes.
Robert, you talked about the value of these practices. Does that make it does that make it hurt a little more that Elijah is out just because of the, as a rookie to get that experience and to play in these first couple of preseason games?
Yeah, Pete, it's all of them. Anyone who's not getting an opportunity to get these reps, whether it's Elijah Moore or a veteran, not that it hurts them. It's just a missed opportunity to go see something else and get a little bit better, But like I said, I just value these practices, and if you're not able to participate, not that it's a knock on you, it's just not great.
For
You
your
got a long
defense to go up against Rodgers and Adams and all those guys over there, just what will you learn about them, and how much can they learn from this whole experience?
You can learn a lot. This is an organization and an offense that's year 3 in their system now. They're efficient. They're fast. Obviously, a Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. They've got a great offensive line, a great run game. I respect the heck out of their O-line coach, and just overall, just the scheme. We're going to see a scheme that is on point with regards to efficiency, because like I said, they're year 3 now, and so we're going to be challenged in terms of precision. And the value of it is to see how precise these great offenses can be, and it's going to be a tremendous valuable lesson for everybody, not just the defense.
Robert, you got a long look at James Morgan and Mike White the other night. So I'm curious, what were your takeaways on them, and how do you feel overall about your number 2 situation at quarterback?
No, it's like I said, there's some ups and downs in both of their performances. I think both of them entered the game excited, and then they settled in and got into a rhythm. But again, their first preseason action, and God knows how long it was Morgan's first action at all, so it's like, there's such a big moment for those guys, but we're happy with where those guys are progressing. Again, this is going to be a really good week for them to showcase where they are, but that process is still going.
Do you anticipate Vera Tucker playing in one of the last 2 preseason games, and how important is that for him to get used to the line and everybody?
We'd love to get his feet wet. We're hoping to get him back for this 3rd week. Obviously, it's still day to day, but again, I'm really not concerned about his week 1 status, but we would love to get him some run in that 3rd game.
How important is special teams value when you start looking at the depth on this roster?
Oh, they're tremendous value. We talked about it the other day, that the special teams coordinator just doesn't sit in a corner and not have an opinion. He's going to have a say so. It's a big part of this game still, even though the rules are trying to have kind of tilted against it. It's still a big part of this game. And, when you look at value of roster, it's how much can you contribute to special teams, especially if you're not a quote unquote starter. Your value on special teams becomes even that more important. So it is very valuable.
Robert, Saturday you mentioned, some DBs, they drew some pass interference or illegal contact. I remember one, Brandon Echols down the sideline when they threw it to Sills. So when it comes to a DB and getting too handsy, how can you, from your perspective, how does a DB prevent getting in those situations where they can end up being flagged for pass interference?
It all goes back to, trusting your technique, trusting where you are in the down, having a good feel of where that route is going, and just not panicking at that point. A lot of times we get grabby because we do teach an aggressive style. And so you might get grabby because you may have false stepped. You may not have a good feel for the route, but it takes a lot of reps. Again, in that game, they're seeing new people, they're feeling different players. And so it's a great learning experience, but again, reps, trust in your technique, trust where you are in position, and just have a great feel for it. But that feel will come in time with reps.
Robert, meant to ask you this yesterday about the kickers. What went into the decision to cut Chris and keep Matt, at this point?
Just the opportunity to let Amendola see if he can get a stranglehold on this thing. Obviously, there's roster moves that need to be made, and Chris's story has not ended. I still think he has a chance to circle back, but right now, with the opportunity he was given and the ability to give Amendola an opportunity to see if he can seize this thing, and the fact that obviously with rosters and trying to make sure that we have I think it was down to what 85. So that was mainly the decision behind that.
Take a couple more guys.
With the
Have you-
relationship you had with Matt, just going back to your college, your GA days, how big is it that you're both sitting here now as head coaches and you get to have a weekend like this together?
I think it's cool. You know, it's obviously Matt and the entire LaFleur family are very, very close, and it is. You never, when we're sitting there as GAs at Central Michigan, I don't think we ever thought that this would happen, but it's pretty cool that it did. So.
Last one.
Have you made those final cuts? Are you down to 85 at this point, and gotten those last cuts?
No, we're going to sit down here after this meeting. I'm going to talk to Joe and see where we're at.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.